it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me a second time today. So today I am bringing you another The Spot challenge, and our challenge for this week is Christmas in July. So I am going to be using the amazing Trimming the Town Designer Series paper. This is in the new August-December mini catalogue, and it's gorgeous. These are the scraps that I now have left. I'll be using the reverse of this one in the card I'm about to show you. There are these lovely houses which you can die cut using the dies which are part of the suite. So let me tell you what those are called. They're called Home Together dies. You can bundle them with the Coming Home stamp set, and this stamp set, if you buy it either as a part of the bundle or as part of the suite bundle, Stampin' Up will donate money to foster, adoption and infertility charities. So really, really great set of stamps to get, and the dies obviously match the stamps, but they match these papers as well. So that's what I've used for most of my imagery today. That's the leftover piece of that you've seen as well, because that's the reverse. Oh no, you haven't seen this. So I've used this on one of my cards today as well. There's this amazing scene, great if you want to do a December daily on a 12 by 12 format, because this would be a fantastic opening page for December. And then the reverse is this lovely squiggle. And then we've got this word pattern, which has got all the languages that Stampin' Up use, with the exception of Japanese. And then we've got wreaths on the back. So that is a quick look at the papers. If you joined me earlier today, you will have seen my paper share, ribbon share, etc. video. So that's another quick look at that. So the card that I have made for The Spot is this card. So we've got Happy Christmas, we've got the trees, and you stand it up like that. So we've got some of the houses. It's not great to see at this angle, but I will have close-up pictures. So and I've used for the sky and for some of the other areas the snowflake sequins. These are a returning favourite, and I've popped these along the bottom of each of the houses, and also on the roofs. I will show you how I did this. It's not part of the project that I'm going to be making now, but I will show you how I did this, because something happened that I wasn't expecting, but it's a great something. And then, as I say, I've added sequins at the bottom of the houses. To get a nice white background, I just took a pair of snips and just scraped some of the paper off so that it took the printing off, and it means you get a nice white background so you can have a bit of snowdrift. But yeah, I thought that was quite a cute little card. So I will try and work out how to do it in 8.5 by 11 as well, but I work in International A4, so I've got to imagine 8.5 by 11. Okay, so I'm going to do a not Christmas version, because I am doing a not only for Christmas series. So I've got a piece of old olive. I will give you dimensions in a moment. I've got a piece of Whisper White. I've got some of the Designer Series paper, and it's the reverse of the paper with all the people on. I've also pre-die cut one of the dies that is in the set. You get trees on a bank, and you also just get a standard bank without the trees. I'm actually going to be turning it over so that I have the 3 trees at the right, and we'll be saving these for something else. And I'm using, instead of Happy Christmas, which I got from the Word Wishes dies, which have got lots and lots of dies. These go with the A Wish for Everything stamp set, but you can obviously buy them separately. These are no longer bundled. For this version, I'm going to have it as a Welcome to Your New Home card, and I'm going to use Welcome, which is from Well Said. I say it's from Well Said, it's from the dies, which are, let me find the label, Well Written, and you get lots and lots of words, so they are one of my favourite go-to sets. And I'm popping on the inside, So Happy You're Here, so that it's a kind of welcome to the neighbourhood kind of thing. Okay, so I started with a half sheet of Old Olive, and I scored it in the middle. Now I'm going to do something a bit odd, but bear with me. I've also scored here, and I've scored from the end 1 3/16, 2 3/8, and 4 1/16. I will try and put those into centimetres, that's the word I was looking for, and also, as I say, try and work it out for 8.5 by 11. So that is a full folded in half piece. I'm actually going to trim this off because, well, you'll see why in a minute. So I'm popping actually I don't need the Whisper White piece, I don't know why I got that out. I'm popping the whole thing onto a white card base, so this is a full half sheet, just folded in half and scored in the middle, well, scored in the middle and folded in half. Now I have trimmed a tiny bit off the edge of, actually I'm going to trim a bit more off the edge of this, and I'm also going to trim a bit off the full piece, which is why I say it's kind of a bit odd, but I like to start with a half sheet. So I'm going to trim a tiny bit. I just want this to look matted. So if we bring this in, you can see that we've got this mat, but the mat is also at the bottom, and it helps with the whole W, except this isn't a W anymore, it's got an extra piece. So I'm cutting this down. It was 10.5 centimetres. For those of you who work in Imperial, I'm cutting it down to about 4 inches, which is about 10.1 centimetres-ish. It's a non-specific trim. So we'll get rid of that piece, and then I'll also trim a tiny bit off the bottom, because, as I say, I want the whole thing to look as if this is just another matte layer. So that's that. Get rid of my trimmer. Whoops. So for the folding, we are going to have, we're actually going to go that way first. Then we'll concertina to the front. And you do end up with this having a longer fold. That's fine. As I say, it helps with the whole sitting in the right place. And we'll just burnish those. Right, popping this to one side for the moment. It's easier to build without it attached. So I've cut pieces of designer series paper, so they are 3 7/8 wide, and not quite my usual 5 and 5. Oh, I've got to trim it down. I did cut it at 5 5/8. Got to trim it down. So it was, whoops, it was 5 5/8. In fact, it was even longer than 5 5/8. So no wonder it's too long. I want it down to about 5.5 inches. And hopefully that will be, yep, that will be just about right. Okay. So this piece kind of just gets stuck on. So let me grab some seal. Just get that rolling properly, and I'm not going to go down the whole length. I'm going to do it in bits, because it's a really nice adhesive, so you don't need that much, and the paper's not going to take any weight. The only thing it's going to have on it is one of the houses and the sentiment. Now I do just want, because I am that sad, yep, yes, yes, I want the diagonal to kind of almost match, but not quite. So pop that on to our mat, really, and then this one goes next. And you'll notice that with the seal, all I'm doing is kind of folding it back on itself to break the tape. That's that one, and then we've got the last piece, which I'll just run 2 strips across, as it's so narrow. And yep. Okay, so this is going to go behind the second mountain, and we're going to line it up so that it's kind of like that. So I just need to make a little mark. Let's pop it in place, and I want it just inside. So I'm going to use a pen just so that you can see it properly. So I'm going to cut it just inside this little mark here. So I will grab my mini cutter and just trim that straight off, and then we can use this on something else. So this is going to pop just behind here, like that. So we've got this little mountain coming up. I say mountain, hill. And then just so that I get the adhesive in the right place for this piece, I'm going to pop the adhesive onto the back of the hill. So we can just grab up the hill and line it up. I'm concentrating, so I've stopped talking, like that. There we go. Not quite straight, but it doesn't actually matter, because all you do if you've gone a little off is just trim off anything that's poking out that shouldn't be. So there we are, that's our nice hill. So we can now start putting the houses on, which I've now buried under other bits. So here we go. So I have got the pool party versions of these houses. I picked out the ones that had the poppy parade, and then this was just kind of in the right area anyway. So these are the pool party versions. This one I'm going to have on the front here. This goes here, so it doesn't actually cover the trees. And then this one will just tuck in behind here. Now I'm going to trim this down. This was right on the edge of the paper, and I didn't want to just throw away a whole house, or best part of a whole house, so I've just trim it off. And I've mounted each of these on a piece of early espresso. So I've just die cut the houses and early espresso, stuck them together. It makes these ones rigid enough that they can do the job that we need them to, which is stand up here. And because I've mounted these, I mounted this. So I'm going to use some liquid adhesive to pop these on, because I want a nice strong adhesive. Not that seal isn't, because it is, but this will give me a little bit of wiggle room. So that's going to come kind of about there. Just press that down for a moment. This will come up here so that it's not quite hiding the tree, and I'm going to have it a little bit higher up, so kind of so that that is at the tree line. But again, I'm going to use liquid adhesive. I'm only going to be putting it on this bottom piece, because otherwise it may go onto the this, which I don't really want it to do, because there is quite a gap between the back of this house and the front of the trees, like that. And then this one we can just pop on. Now you could theoretically put this one on dimensionals. I'm not too worried about that, and I want it so that when the card is closed, it's kind of just there. There we go. So that's our card front almost done. In fact, done. So it needs to pop onto our actual card front, but not until I've stamped the sentiment on the inside. Always a plan, really. So I'm going to grab my Old Olive, because we've definitely embraced Old Olive for this card. So happy you are here. And just pop that on the inside of my card, like that. Close that up. And now I'm going to use liquid adhesive again. It is my adhesive of choice as a general rule. Now I'm going to use a little bit more than I would normally because we have got the added weight of this. So this gets a little tricky because you've got all the front to worry about as well. But it's fine. And you want it so it's just up from the base of your card, just a little bit. It just helps with keeping everything in place. And then all we've got to do is finish off with the word, which is welcome. Now I have pre-die cut 3 in early espresso and 1 in brass. Let me pop that there. Let me bring this one back in as well so you can just have a look at that as well, because this is the one that's kind of for the spot. I'm going to grab a silicone mat. I love these things. They do stain when you use blends on them, but it's what I would call clean dirt, not dirty dirt. I've used some of our adhesive strips, or sheets rather, behind here. So all I've got to do is peel this off and it becomes a sticker. I think I'll just turn this round. I'm all fingers and thumbs today. And then just pop that down. There's a little bit of, you can sort it out before it adheres fully. And then pop it in place, take another one. I do like stacking the die cuts up because it just gives them a little bit more depth. So on the Christmas version, I used some of our new red foil, which is an add-on to my paper shares. You can't get just the foils and the flock paper and that sort of stuff on their own, but you can get them as an add-on to a paper share. And what you get is a sample, so you get 6 by 6 of each of them. For the paper share you get 1/4 of a pack. For the other paper add-on you get a 6 by 6 sample. And this, again, I've put a sticky sheet on the back, so we'll just pop that on top. Make sure it's all nicely lined up, and then give it a good press. And this is where a bone folder, you can get some real traction, and push it right down. And then all I need to do is pop this onto my card, and then this card is finished. And then all I want to do is show you how I got the dimensional snow on the roofs for my Christmas version. So here we'll put welcome up there, down there. No, we'll pop it up here. We'll pop it just about there. And there we have our welcome card. Now I do grant that the trees do kind of fall forwards, but what you can do is you can just very gently persuade them that they actually want to be upright. So there you are, that's this version. This is the original version. So let's show you how I did that. I might as well use this as my sample. So we need white embossing powder, because it is heat embossing, and liquid adhesive. And I'm going to just add my adhesive onto my trees. And you don't need to be too careful about this. Now, it is going to get noisy, so if you want to turn the volume down, please do, but don't until I have reminded you that if you don't already subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would be thrilled if you would. And if you enjoy the videos, please give them a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, please leave those in the comments box, which is below the description bar. And you can find close-ups and the measurements, fingers crossed, in the associated blog post, which is below in the description. So take this, pop it into your embossing, and as ever, I like to give it 2 goes. Just going to pop the lid on this and grab my heat gun, and I'll use a pair of craft tweezers just to save my fingers. I would normally use my what's the word I'm looking for? Cheese board. Let me just turn that off for a moment and hold that properly. But I want to get this close so that you can see it happening. So sorry about the noise. Right, here we go. So are we in camera? Yes, we are. Let's pop that behind so you can see a bit better. Now it is curling, but that's as much as anything because of the heat. But can you see that it's bubbling? So that's the glue that is bubbling. But it then gives you this really nice effect. And you can straighten it out just by heating from the back. And again, it's bubbling a bit, which is just what we want. And turn that off, and rather than a totally flat finish, you've now got this very much more lifelike lumpy finish. So, and that's because you've heated the glue whilst it's got the embossing powder on it. So I hope you found that helpful. I can now rub off any glue that got on my silicone sheet, because that's what you do. You just rub it off and it disappears. Every now and again I do give these a wash in some warm soapy water. But there we go. So let me show you the 2 projects. So this is the one that I've made for the spot, and this is the one bringing it into the not Christmas scenario. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please do look at all our products to see if you can change how you would use them. So don't just think of them as just doing one thing. There's a lot of really, really great stuff coming in the new catalogue. They will be sent out to my current customers this week. So you should get them either late this week or early next. Some super products. And you don't have to just use them for Christmas. If we look at coming home, yes, there's a wreath. Yes, there are trees. That's it. That's all there is that is Christmas. Otherwise, they're just houses and a car. And it's a little VW Beetle. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching. Do take part in our challenge. You can find the link on my website, which, as I say, is just below. Or the link to my website is just below, and we would love to see your Christmas in July projects. So thank you very much indeed for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!